YouTube Nation, what it do, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. On this episode, I'm going to be introducing a new series, man. Being that I'm speaking on Black August so much, it's only right that I acknowledge and shed light on the brother George Jackson for a lot of y'all that don't know. So a lot of people out there don't know nothing about George Jackson. A lot of y'all do. So I'm going to go ahead, man, and share this video and break it down for y'all in parts. Probably about 3 parts, man, and break it down the story of George Jackson, what happened to George Jackson, how it all started. And for beginners, we say this: God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. So let's get right into this. Born in 1941 in Chicago, George and his family moved to Los Angeles at the age of 15. That's where he moved to Watts. That's where he settled at. But George had already been involved in different type of petty crimes before he left Chicago, and he came out here and continued. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let the story go speak for itself. Y'all check this out. This is part 1. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I once again thank all y'all for tuning in. Let's get it.
A young boy at Catholic school, Jackson experienced racism. The playground was for white kids only. Growing up in the projects, he became involved in petty crime, fighting, stealing.
At age 5, his parents moved to LA and they settled in the Watts district, where he began to be involved in a little bit more serious crimes, stealing a motorbike, breaking and entering. In 1958, he was convicted of a store burglary and sent to CYA, California Youth Authority camp, for several months. He escaped, fled back to Chicago, was involved in a knifing, came back to California in chains.
After spending time locked up in the California Youth Authority, Jackson graduated to state prison when he pled guilty to the robbery of a Bakersfield gas station. It was 1961. Jackson was 19 years old, and he received the indeterminate sentence of 1 year to life.
Well, I was incarcerated under a 1 to life. A term they called for 1 to life, where I could have done 1 year and been released. I've done 10. That's more time than anybody in the state has ever done on a 1 to life.
According to fellow inmate James Carr, when the two became leaders of a gang known as the Wolfpack, much of her time was spent in the usual convict hustles: gambling, booze, sex, blackmail.
We die too easily. We forgive and forget too easily. Gentle and refined people, aren't we? We'll make good communists if someone deals with the fascists for us.
In January of 1970, George Jackson was one of more than 2,000 inmates at Soledad Prison. Jackson had been here before. Located 100 miles south of San Francisco, the prison was in the heart of the fertile Salinas Valley, the salad bowl of America. When Soledad opened in 1951, it was the model for the California prison system, a showplace for reform. By the next decade, that hope had vanished.
Soledad was a racist pit. It was a horrible, horrible place. And the guards set the prisoners against each other. You know, there were conspiracies everywhere. There were stabbings. There were.
I went to school, programs, but now on the side, I was studying things that I felt that would help the community.
George Jackson made him the best proselytizer for revolution on the yard.
At Soledad, the charismatic Jackson conducted secret political study groups with other inmates, trying to unify the prisoner class.
He was an internationalist. He identified with international communist solidarity.
And one of the projects he took on was that of transforming those who were behind bars, to move away from what he called a criminal mentality to a revolutionary mentality.
And then he had the capabilities of mobilizing everybody. You know, if he said, hey, we're going to do this here, we do this here.
On the morning of January 13th, 1970, a new exercise yard was opened at Soledad's notorious O-Wing. The prison grapevine had long predicted that a fight between black and white inmates would occur. Revenge was the motive because of the previous racial killings of blacks.
I would say the majority of people in Soledad knew that when the new exercise yard was open, that there would be a fight out there.
At around 9 a.m., a racially mixed group of inmates began entering the yard. W.L. Nolan, a prison boxing champion and Jackson's closest political ally, was among them.
And we said, well, get on the court, basketball court. Everyone pick your man. When everyone's set, and we'll do it.
The guard in the tower was O.G. Miller, white, 51 years old, known to be an expert with a rifle. Miller's background was similar to that of other guards. Ex-military, from a southern state, known to inmates as a racist.
He was gonna shoot somebody black. If it was a fight out there on the yard or somewhere, he wasn't gonna shoot his kind. He was gonna shoot the other guy.
The fight started when Nolan threw the first punch at a white inmate. Others quickly joined the battle.
As soon as they started scuffling, shots rang out.
Without warning, Officer Miller fired his weapon at the inmates.
Nolan was the first one shot. He was shot through the chest on the first bullet off of a .30 caliber, very high-powered rifle. He was shot right in the heart.
It was straight up murder.
A second, then a third shot fired, hitting two other black inmates. Both would bleed to death. A white inmate had also been wounded.
And even Billy Harris, the one who really hated blacks, said that we thought we were just going to fight. Nobody really get killed. We get, maybe some bruises and head bashing, but that'd be it.
3 days later, on January 16th, the Monterey County Grand Jury ruled the killings justifiable homicide.
There was just a thickness of anger and a sense of injustice that had occurred.
You just didn't kill us like that. Then dudes were saying like, damn, we dying, why are we dying by ourselves? And that was the attitude that everybody,
Not long after the ruling had been announced, outrage turned into retribution. At around 6:30 p.m., 26-year-old guard John Mills was beaten and thrown from the top tier of Y-Wing.
Absolutely in the wrong place at the wrong time.
A lot of people were glad. A lot of people were glad, white and black.
Mills was killed not because he was Mills, it was because he was a guard, to pay back for the Opie Miller shooting.
There was a note left on him. 1 down, 2 to go. That was stated really clearly.
According to prison authorities, there were inmates black and white who witnessed the killing of Officer Mills. In February, George Jackson, John Pluchet, and Fleta Drumgo were indicted for murder. Known as the Soledad brothers, the case of the 3 inmates would become a cause célèbre. John Mills was the first guard murdered at the prison.
Was the incident for which you're charged now, was it a revolutionary act on your part?
You're asking me to confess to something?
Unless you want to. Did you kill a man?
Look, one of the most important elements of guerrilla warfare is to maintain secrecy. I've killed nobody until, it's been proven. And they'll never be able to prove anything like that.